With some pedals, it's pretty obvious what they're all about. Analog chorus, preamp, digital delay, mythical overdrive. Some incorporate something descriptive into the name. Afterneath, the sweeper, cathedral, bubbletron. Others are just like, we don't want you to start with any assumptions, so why don't you figure it out? The gonculator, pork loin, Hawaiian pizza. And today's pedal, the Deluxe Electric Mistress. So a few things up front. The Electro Harmonix Electric Mistress has been out for a while, like a real long while. And when most people are talking about the Electric Mistress effect, they're talking about the OG vintage units. There's a page here that breaks down the history and science behind them in great detail. It's definitely worth reading if you're interested in that. But this video is about this newer version specifically with the exo-sized enclosure. And even then it gets a little confusing because there's this and then there's this. This is a modernized version of the classic effect. It's not a reissue, it's an entirely new approach. It's still analog. And it's all compact. It takes a standard 9-volt power supply. It's even got a status LED, so that's handy. This one is called the Stereo Electric Mistress, and same sized enclosure with the LED and the 9-volt power supply, and you might expect this one to be a stereo version of this, but this is actually a completely different effect that's digital. It's a flanger and a chorus that you can mix together. Now, I don't know why they felt the need to reuse the Electric Mistress name for it when it's a completely different effect, but I like it a lot, and I should probably do a video on it at some point. The hardcore Electric Mistress fans, and they are out there, will sometimes begrudgingly admit that this one exists. But don't you dare mention this new digital one unless you're looking for a fight. It's like V8 Mustang, guys, and this is an EcoBoost, and this is the electric one. But back to the Deluxe Electric Mistress. At its heart, it's a flanger. And what is a flanger? Well, it's actually very similar to a chorus. You split the signal, delay one side a little bit, oscillate the amount of delay back and forth, only a chorus does it between like 20 and 50 milliseconds, so you get a second voice in there with a slightly different pitch. That's chorus. A flanger shortens the delay range way down, short enough that the copy sound wave is like so close to the original that you get certain frequencies going out of phase with the delayed one. That effect with certain frequencies going in and out of phase is known as a comb filter because it's got these little teeth digging into the range of frequencies. And then we use a low frequency oscillator to sweep that back and forth. And you can hear it. And if we pull up a multimeter in Logic, we can see it. Yeah, look at those notches go. On this pedal, we've got rate, that's the speed of the low frequency oscillator. Color is the intensity of that interference or the depth of those filters. And listen to what happens when you turn that up really high. And range is the amount of delay, which lets you target different frequencies. And you put them all together and you have a wide range of sound that falls outside what you might expect from a flanger. Now, filter matrix, that sounds really technical, but it's just disconnecting the oscillator so it doesn't move on its own. With that, you can park the filters over certain frequencies to get a hollow or a tinny effect. Now, a big question when it comes to flangers is before or after dirt, and it really depends on a lot. It depends what kind of guitar you have, what kind of pickups are in the guitar. It depends where on the neck you're playing. It depends what kind of distortion pedal you're using. But the short answer is flanger first, and you're basically filtering what goes into the distortion pedal, so it's kind of subtle. And dirt first, and you'll be filtering what comes out of the distortion pedal, which is very not subtle. And there's just so many ways you can cook up a flanging effect. For the longest time, I was hooked on the Boss BF2. And then I heard the EVH flanger, and to me, that just had a lot more of the pronounced scrape that I was after for the rock band that I was in. But that's a mighty big pedal, and it also eats up an 18-volt power supply spot. So lately, I just use this MXR micro flanger. But the Electric Mistress is definitely not your typical flanger. Let's pair it up with a tube screamer and a delay pedal to add a little bit of movement and modulation to some leads. Hey, thanks for checking out this video. I had a lot of fun doing it, and I always love trying out new pedals, so I hope I didn't say anything too out of line for the OG Electric Mistress purists out there. But if I did, there's always another video, right? I'll catch you then.